right, so I mentioned Duckworth, which is, it's crazy to South Carolina has had a pretty good history of actually signing good quarterbacks, Rob, if you really think about it.
Yep.
I mean, if you go by the way that kids are ranked, I mean, we can just go back 20 years and stop there. We don't. Tannehill obviously stands on his own. Todd Ellis, but if you go back to kind of like when rankings became a thing, I mean, Blake was a 4-star quarterback. My man Blake, who's shaved his head. He looks good though. Go get him, Blake. Helping out at Wando this year, helping coach some quarterbacks over at Wando. So go Wando. Undefeated season for the Warriors. Garcia was a top 10 national quarterback. Okay. He has not shaved his head, for anybody wondering.
Definitely not.
Chris Smelly was a 4-star quarterback. I love Chris. Talked to him after he got lost in his kayak a couple of years ago, which was scary.
Yep.
But he's doing well. He's a great high school football coach. You think there was a time there. I mean, think about a lot of the guys that Coach Spurrier signed. They weren't really like high profile dudes other than Steven. He went after guys that kind of fit the mold of who he was and the guys that he coached at Florida, right? But then you started steamrolling dudes in here who were highly rated dudes. I mean, even guys that like really never did much. I mean, you think about like guys like Lorenzo Nunez, for instance. I mentioned Holinsky, Brandon McElwain.
I was about to say that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he was the number 2 rated quarterback in the country.
Yep. And then even Jake reclassing was still very highly thought of.
But big time, he was still a 4-star.
Yeah.
And look, LaNorris Sellers. How many times have we gone over this here that he was like the 30th player in the state of South Carolina or something ridiculous? Hale McGranahan like was shaking his head like, I can't believe my colleagues couldn't figure this out. So LaNorris isn't really a part of this conversation, but my point is like I mean, to carry on Joyner, Luke Doty was one of the best quarterbacks in the country. Luke Doty's still here. I think he was the 102nd ranked overall player or something like that, and to carry on was up there. I mean, there's been a lot of them, but none of that ever correlates to the postseason accolades, which is just wild to me. So, for instance, if at the end of the year, again, we're going to have preseason stuff coming out today. So, Rob, at the end of the year, if LaNorris Sellers makes his way onto an all-SEC team, he'll be the only quarterback in the history of the program to have done it twice. Okay? Steve was never voted all-SEC in the postseason. Now, he was a freshman All-American in 1992, but he wasn't on an all-SEC team. Believe it or not, like if I asked somebody who was the last quarterback in the league to be on the all-SEC postseason 1, 2, 3, first team, second team, or third team, you know how many people would throw out Connor Shaw's name and they'd all be wrong because he was never on it.
Yeah.
And neither was Steven. Jake wasn't. There's just not a lot to write home about when it comes to postseason accolades at this position at South Carolina. So, it's already begun, but it's not going to stop. This is as long as he's playing well and South Carolina's winning games, Rob, throughout the season. We've already hit on the Heisman. You already see the projections for the draft next year for LaNorris Sellers. This is going to be the other thing that comes on this train. Can this guy be the first quarterback at South Carolina to win this award? Can he be the first one to be on this team X number of times? He was the SEC Freshman of the Year last year. Can he be the SEC Player of the Year? Has there ever been an SEC Freshman of the Year and Player of the Year twice in their career? I'm sure there has been, but I just can't think of it who it would be. So, I watched him the other day, and he just calmly handles all this. It's really, again, we're in uncharted territory right now with what's going on with South Carolina superstar.
I think the biggest thing for me is off of the field. And when I'm looking at and evaluating athletes on a regular basis, that's how I'm working with them is off of the field. So I'm looking here first, and we always say it starts in the mind, finishes on the field. So when I think about LaNorris, just in the conversations that you see him have, and then you can talk to his peers, you can talk to his coaches. Guys do a good job of putting it on. A lot of guys do a good job of putting it on for an interview, putting it on for a coaching staff. But you can talk to people that have grown up with him, talk to people that are around him right now, talk to people that are in class with him. This it's just who he is. And so when you talk about that it factor, yes, he has it when the pocket breaks and he scores and nobody else in the country can do what he did. But there's something about, you said it, he's calm, but he's still a fierce competitor at the same time. He's not too laid back where it's just laissez-faire out there. He is locked in and laser focused. Things do not shake him up. I think that the mental strength that he has is what propels this team forward, and it's what gives them confidence in him. And confidence changes everything in sports.
It does. The latest, by the way, with all this stuff with LaNorris Sellers, there was a column that came out yesterday from Jordan Reed on ESPN, and it was titled 2026 NFL Draft Top Pick Predictions, Early Chances at Number 1. He's got 14 players who could go number 1 overall. And of those 14, he has 4 serious contenders, okay? Drew Aller, quarterback at Penn State. I'm not. No.
It's just the build.
Yeah, we'll see it.
It's just the build.
He's got Garrett Nussmeier at both of them at 15%.
Yep.
He's got Cade Klubnik at 15%, and he's got LaNorris Sellers at 15%. And here's what he says: why he could be the top pick. This is from Jordan Reed. I'm a fan of Jordan Reed for what it's worth. I don't know if anybody really cares about that, but this isn't just some Joe Schmo, or else I wouldn't read it. NFL teams constantly fall in love with traits at the top of the draft, and Sellers has some of the best traits in the class. The 6'3", 242-pound dual threat quarterback can not only beat defenses with his powerful arm, 2,534 passing yards and 18 touchdowns to 7 picks as a 19-year-old redshirt freshman, he notes, but also with his legs, 674 on the ground, 7 touchdowns. Sellers showed dramatic improvement as a first-year starter, helping the Gamecocks win 6 of their final 7 games last season. His 65.6 completion percentage was also encouraging considering his inexperience, and it points to further improvement in 2025. He finishes with this: he sometimes throws passes that are too hot to handle and holds the ball too long in the pocket. His 3.06 second average time to throw was the 11th slowest nationally in 2024. He'll also need to improve his ball security, as he fumbled 11 times and lost 6 of those last year. But if Sellers can fine-tune these things and continue his growth, he has the tools to be the top pick in the 2026 NFL draft.
Yeah, I think that the time to throw is the biggest negative that NFL teams are going to look at. But at the same time, when I hear people talk about that, you have to understand the type of player that you're looking at. Half of the magic happens when he breaks down and runs. And so I think that plays in his mind. And we saw a little bit in the bowl game, and people have gone back and forth about what was said, what wasn't said, what was he prepped for, what was he not prepped for. I think it's more of the fact that it was just a rusty redshirt freshman who's had a month off. But it looked a little bit like he was more hesitant to run the ball at times. I think unleashing him to just play, he's got it up here in his mind to make the call at the last second. Do I need to rip it? Do I need to go? Do I need to buy more time? And the processing speed is not as slow as his time to throw may portray that it is.
Yeah. I'm going to lean on my man, Big John. I lean on Big John for a lot of stuff. Sometimes just when I've had a bourbon or too many, I just lean on him. But John had pointed out multiple times since they played that game against Illinois what Illinois did defensively. It was something that wasn't on tape. Now, they hadn't done it all year. They they quite frankly kind of outcoached South Carolina. They just out-schemed them going into the game. Tip your cap, give them credit. And it was something he had not seen, and that certainly probably threw him off. And I'm with you, by the way. He was hot, and then he kind of sat around for 4 weeks and then had to go play a football game. I think all that just culminated, and it still wasn't a bad performance.
No.
It wasn't a bad performance at all. There was just a few moments there, like if you were at the game, it was more it was more obvious being there than it
Yeah.
was on
Yeah.
television. Some of the guys who were like, "Oh my god, that guy's wide open," or "Man, he could at least scramble here and get a few yards," as opposed to just kind of throwing this thing away, as you could kind of see the whole field.